Right. Listen. Okay, I'm sorry for it. Look at the board. So we learned last class how to produce biogas. So basically to produce biogas, we need a bacteria called Methanococcus. Not only this, we also need some certain raw materials. We also need some organic materials such as straw and cow dung. So straw and cow dung will naturally not mix together. So we also need what? We also need water. So we need these four things. So whoever didn't come last class, whoever is attending this as the first session, we already learned this. We already learned this during the last session. So if you are new to the class, kindly make sure to go through the recording of the previous classes so that you will understand this part. Right? So we learned how to produce biogas. The second industry that we are going to talk about is metal extraction, like how to extract metals. I guess I taught this as well. Did I teach this as well? Online students, I think, but physical students, I taught this, no, metal extraction, how to extract the metals.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll just revise it again. Listen. So metal extraction is a process where we extract the metals from the low grade ores. Can I know a student from online? Can you all please tell me clearly until which part did we learn so that I can explain properly? The online student, Uttaru answer pannungale please, Fanny.
We learned until 47 question.
Adinna 47 questions.
Question number 47 in the chapter.
Yeah,
One.
I know, but what is it about? Summa 47. Okay.
The
So you guys didn't learn about biogas, no?
No.
You didn't talk. Didn't I not, teach you about biogas? How to produce biogas?
No.
Okay, I'll explain this, okay? Because physical students bear with us for some time because they have not learned this. I'll explain how to produce biogas. Then I will move on to the next part, right? So biogas mainly contains a gas called the methane gas. Biogas mainly contains a gas called the methane gas. It will be a revision for the physical students as well, right? Biogas has a gas mainly present in it called the methane gas, CH4, right? CH4 is basically called the methane gas. To produce this gas, now this gas is used as a, why, like whoever studied, tell me, why do they use this gas in India and all? They use this gas for what? Right? In India and all, how do they produce this gas? Tell. Like, why do they produce this gas? No one knows. Shurfa, Sheraz, Umesh, whoever is from physical class, you all don't know. What's the purpose of this? Why are they producing biogas? What's the purpose of methane gas? None of y'all know? Zaid, Abdullah, what's the purpose of methane gas?
Biology.
No. Shahida, what's the purpose of methane gas? Okay, listen.
Produce fire.
To be used as a fuel. To be used as a fuel, right? Now, methane gas is used as a fuel, right? So in India and all, they use this gas as an energy source. Why do they use this gas as? They use this gas as an energy source. Now you can't forget this. Huh? Remember, methane gas is used as an energy source to produce energy. To you be used as an energy source, right? We are learning how to produce biogas. Under how to produce biogas, you have to know that the main gas which is present in biogas is the methane gas. The main gas which is produced in biogas is the methane gas. Methane gas is used as an energy source. Methane gas is used as an energy source. How to produce it? Remember, they need an anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria means a bacteria which doesn't need oxygen. Anaerobic bacteria is a bacteria which doesn't need oxygen to survive. They do not need oxygen. Now we need oxygen to breathe. They do not need oxygen to breathe. Those type of bacteria, we call it as anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic means anaerobic respiration is a respiration which occurs in the absence, respiration that occurs in the absence of oxygen gas. Right? If respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen gas, that type of respiration is called as anaerobic respiration. The respiration which occurs in the absence of oxygen gas, the type of respiration, we call it as anaerobic respiration. Is that clear, everyone? Aerobic respiration means the respiration that happens with the help of oxygen gas. Right? Aerobic respiration is with oxygen gas. Anaerobic respiration is without oxygen gas. So if respiration happens without the help of oxygen gas, that is called as anaerobic respiration. So Methanococcus is a bacteria which respirates in the absence of oxygen gas. Methanococcus is a bacteria that respirates in the absence of oxygen gas. Right? Now look at the board. To produce biogas, we need straw, cow dung. These are called organic substances. Organic substances such as straw and cow dung are required to make methane gas. Additionally, we also need water as a medium. Like there should be some liquid in it. So we are using water to mix the straw and the cow dung. Straw means the hay, the white coal, right? So that's called as straw. So straw, cow dung, and water is mixed together in a tank-like thing like this, and they are sent under the ground where the tank is present. Now they have built a place where oxygen supply is not there, right? Where they grow the Methanococcus. They grow Methanococcus here, where the Methanococcus is present because Methanococcus doesn't need oxygen. So their Methanococcus is there in this tank. So what do is they mix all the mixtures like cow dung, straw, water is mixed here. And we call this as slurry. This solution we call it as slurry solution, slurry. Right? So they mix all these three solutions, like all these three substances like straw, cow dung, and water. And they send it under the ground where the tank is there. So here we have added Methanococcus. So the Methanococcus, they act on this medium, they act on this solution and produces biogas. In the biogas, the main gas which is present is the methane gas. Remember, methane gas is CH4. What is the formula for methane gas?
CH4.
CH4. Again, every chemical compound has a formula. So what's the formula for methane gas?
CH4.
CH4. Right? The formula for methane gas, the chemical formula for methane gas is CH4. Right? So methane gas will be produced and they are storing this production in the industry. There will be an industry built. So in that industry, they collect this methane gas. Okay? So again, listen. Industrial microbiology means where we use microorganisms in different industrial activities for economic benefits. So first industrial activity that we are going to talk about is production of biogas. To produce biogas, we use a bacteria, anaerobic bacteria called the Methanococcus. Not only that is needed, we also need 3 other ingredients. What are the 3 other ingredients that are needed? Open your mouth.
Straw.
Everyone answer. And water. What are the 3 other ingredients needed? Straw, cow dung, and water. Straw, cow dung, and water is needed. Right? So they mix it in the to form a solution, and this solution is sent where Methanococcus is present. So Methanococcus is an anaerobic bacteria that reacts with this slurry solution, and it forms what gas? What gas is produced?
Biogas.
Biogas. What's the main gas present in the biogas?
Gas.
Methane gas is produced. Right? So they collect the methane gas and they use methane gas as an energy source. Right? Methane gas is used as an energy source. So then next one, I'll explain the metal extraction and then you all can write the answers. Okay. So next one, second one is what? Second one is extracting of metals. Second one is metal extraction. Extraction of metals. Right? Now look at the board. How do they extract metals? On physical students know. From which place do they extract metals? From
Low grade area.
low grade ores. From where?
Low grade
Low grade ores. Low grade ore is an area where it has less concentration of metals. Right? If there is an area with low concentration of metals or area வந்து குறைய concentration of metals இருக்கிற ஏரியாக்கு தான் சொல்றது low grade ores. Low grade ore is an area which contains less concentration of metals. An area that contains less concentration of metals, we call that area is as what? What do you call that area as?
Low grade ores.
Low grade ores. Again, listen. Low grade ore is an area which has low concentration of metal. The substances with a low concentration of metals. You can write down the substances. Whoever doesn't know the meaning, you can note it down and keep. The substances with less concentration of metals. The substances with less concentration of metals is called as low grade ores. Right? Low grade ores means the substances with less concentration of metals. What is low grade ores?
The substances with concentration of metals.
Very good. Now I can hear you 4 or 5 talking. What about others? Vaila putta ille pesunga ellarum. What is meant by low grade ores?
The substances with less concentration of metals.
Very good. The substances with less concentration of metals. Now, if they want to extract these metals out, when the metals we have to take it out. So to extract the metals out, they can use a microorganism. They can use bacteria. Right? So if they are using microorganism to extract the metals out, this process we call it as what? What do you call this process as? Bioleaching. We call this process as what? Bioleaching. Bioleaching is a process. It's a more simple and effective technology. It's a very simple and if it's an effective technology where the metals are extracted from low-grade ores by using microorganisms. Right? By using microorganisms. If the metals are extracting of metals, a simple technology where metals are extracted from low-grade ores by using microbes is called as bioleaching. Bio and enna? Bio means living. So what's the living thing? What's the living thing that we are using here?
Microbes.
Microbes. You're going to use microbes. We are using microorganisms to extract the metals. We are using microorganisms to extract the metals from where? From the low-grade ores. So this process is called as bioleaching. Bioleaching is a simple and effective technology. It's a very effective technology. It's more effective. It's a simple and effective technology where metals are extracted from low-grade ores by using microbes. It's a simple and effective technology where metals are extracted from low-grade ores by using microbes. So this process is called as bioleaching. See, leach and like extract panni edukradhukku dhaan solradhu leaching and bio and living thing. So using a living thing to take the metal out. So that process is called as bioleaching. Mostly they extract and take uranium and copper. These are the two metals that they usually perform this technology to extract these two metals. Mainly they use bioleaching. So copper and uranium are metals that are extracted by using bioleaching. So what are the two metals which are extracted by using bioleaching?
Uranium and copper.
Uranium.
Copper. So uranium and copper are two metals which are extracted by using bioleaching. So is metal extraction clear?
Yes, teacher.
Shall we answer?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, you all can answer question number 48. What is the name of the bacteria which is involved with the production of methane gas? What's the name of the bacteria?
Methanococcus.
Methanococcus. So when you are writing the name of the bacteria, you have to what? You have to, first letter should be capital, and you have to what? You have to underline the word. Make the first letter capital and underline the word methanococcus. How is methane gas produced? Now here you have to explain how is it produced. So write down the explanation. How is it produced? You add straw, cow dung and water, and you are going to use anaerobic bacteria called methanococcus to react on the surface, and that's how a biogas is produced. Write down a mixture containing organic materials, such as straw, cow dung, and water, is used, and this solution we call it as what? This mixture we call it as what?
Slurry.
I'll show you. Not
Slurry.
paper. If there will be pictures, I'll just show you a picture like this, right? See, they send it through this part. So here they send the water, straw, and the cow dung. Then this mixture where the substances are reacting with the metal, this mixture we call it as a slurry. Then the biogas will be produced. The biogas will be collected here, right? Whatever the remaining waste will go through this, and they will remove it through the outlet. Okay, so this is a process where they produce biogas. So this is influent, whatever you put it in, this is effluent, whatever you take it out, whatever the remainings, like, whatever you don't need, that is taken from the other side. So you see, it will be like this only. Basically, if you see through actual picture, it's like this. This is a slurry. They are using organic fertilizers such as straw, cow dung, and water. They mix it in this tank like this, and they send it under the ground. Is that clear what I said?
Yes, teacher.
Like this. Where did it go? Okay. So mixture containing organic materials such as straw, cow dung, and water is used to produce biogas. Is used to produce biogas. An anaerobic bacteria called Methanococcus, reacts on these organic surfaces and produces methane gas. and produces methane gas or biogas. So that's how methane gas is produced. How are microorganisms used up? So this one is basically a general knowledge. It's not given in your book, right? So alcohol industries, all we learned in grade 8, chapter 1. Can you remember that ethyl alcohol is produced when yeast and sugar solution is mixed together,
Yes, teacher.
right? Due to the activity of yeast in sugar solution in grade 8, first chapter, you learned in an activity that inflating the balloon and all you learned. So that is basically this. They're asking how are microorganisms used up in alcohol industry. So yeast is a microorganism which reacts with sugar solution. Due to the activity of yeast in sugar solution, alcohol called as ethyl alcohol is produced. So remember, microorganisms are used up in alcohol industry as well. So we are just giving an example to show that microorganisms are used up in alcohol industry as well. Is that clear? So you can write there, yeast is a microorganism. Yeast is a microorganism due to the activity of it on sugar solution. Due to the activity of yeast in sugar solution. Due to the activity of yeast in sugar solution. Due to the activity of yeast in sugar solution, ethyl alcohol is produced. Ethyl alcohol is produced. Due to the activity of yeast in sugar solution, ethyl alcohol is produced. What are the dairy productions associated with bacterial action? What are the dairy products where bacteria is used? Yogurt. Yogurt. Tell me. Yogurt. Cheese. Curd.
Curd, cheese,
Milk.
butter.
Butter.
Milk,
Milk. They're asking milk products only. They're asking milk kala sera products la vandu edhilla bacteria use பண்றாங்க. So yogurt, cheese, curd and butter. Not margarine. Astralam vandu margarine. Butter சொல்றது வந்து அந்த Highland butter, Anchor butter, Kotmale butter. Those are butter. Friends. Butter is made from milk. Milk fat. Margarine is made from vegetable fat. Now, astralam vegetables are the sera. Astra, medoli, those are vegetable fat. Those are called margarine. Butter and sollakola. Butter is basically Kotmale, Highland, Rich Life. Those are butter. Anchor, those are butter, right? So yogurt, cheese, curd, and butter are dairy productions where they use bacteria. You can do the next question also. What is the name of the bacteria which converts alcohol into vinegar? You learned in the first part, first table.
acetobacter.
Acetobacter. Very good. Right? The bacteria which convert Acetobacter aceti. Acetobacter aceti is a bacteria which is producing what? Acetobacter is aceti is a bacteria which produces
Vinegar.
vinegar. Right? Acetobacter aceti is a bacteria which produces vinegar. How are microorganisms used in the process of metal extraction? So how are microorganisms used in the process of metal extraction?
By biology.
Yeah, you have to write. You have to write properly. You have to write a simple and effective technology where metals are extracted from low-grade ores by using microorganisms. This process is called as biology. So you can basically write microorganisms are used, microbes are used to extract metals from where? From the low grade ores. Right? Microbes are used to extract metals from the low-grade ores. Are you all done with 49 and 50?
Yes,
Is
teacher.
everyone finished with 49 and 50?
Yes.
Okay. What is the name given to the method of extracting metals by microbes? What do you call that process as?
Biology.
Bioleaching. Very good. That process is called as what?
Biology.
Bioleaching. The process where we extract metals from low-grade ores, that process is basically called as bioleaching. Give two examples of for metals which are extracted by the above mentioned bioleaching. What's the name?
Uranium.
Uranium.
Uranium and copper.
Copper and uranium.
Yes. Is everyone done until 53? Can I know if everyone is finished until 53?
Yes,
No,
teacher.
miss.
No. Nafha, which question are you writing, dear?
53rd.
53rd one. Okay. Anyone else who have not finished? Zaina, Zakira, Yahya, Umesh, Umeima, Talha, Shibra.
Done, teacher.
Everyone done?
Done. Yes. Teacher.
Preeta, which question are you writing, darling?
Done.
You're done. Good job. Saleha, are you done? Dion, are you done?
Yes, teacher. No, teacher.
Which question are you writing, Dion?
53.
53. Okay. Quickly write it, everyone. Finish it until 53 so that we can move on. Okay. Give two examples for metals which are extracted by the above mentioned method. So you can write uranium and copper. Again, what are the two metals that are extracted by bioleaching?
Uranium.
Uranium, copper.
Uranium and copper. Right? You remember as UC, uranium, copper. Right? Uranium and copper are two metals which are extracted using the process called bioleaching. Okay. Kindly raise your hands. Everyone whoever is done until 54, please make sure to raise your hands so that I can teach the direct production. Whoever is finished until 54, kindly make sure to raise your hands. So 27 people are done. 28, 29 are done. Good. Shifa, Samha, Zakira, Yusuf, Umeima, Shibra, Saliha. Saliha finished, okay. Noora, Farha, Hajra, Abdullah Dilshad, Ahil. Ahil, if you're finished, raise your hand, darling. Done, okay. So almost everyone are done. Farha, Zakira, Umeima, are you guys writing still?
Yes.
Yes. Hajra, what about you? Are you done? Okay, we'll revise until they finish. So what is meant by bioleaching? Extracting a simple and effective technology.
Where microbes are used to extract metals from low-grade ores is known as bioleaching.
Right? So where microbes are used to extract the metals from the low-grade ores are called as bioleaching. Right? It's a more simple and effective technology where microbes are used
To extract metals from the low-grade ores is known as bioleaching.
bioleaching. Yes. Right. So I hope everyone is done. Now I'm going to stop the screen share and I'm going to start the direct production. Huh? Now the third one is, third we make fourth. Basically we learn, always remember students, microorganisms can be used to produce biogas. We learn how biogas is produced. Microorganisms is used to extract metals. We learn how metals are extracted. Microorganisms is used in alcohol industry. Remember, alcohol is something which is produced by using microorganism. Example you learned in grade 8 is when it reacts with sugar solution. If you want, you can write down this and keep. Yeast, when it mixes with sugar solution, it will produce ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide gas. It will produce ethyl alcohol and it will produce carbon dioxide gas. So as you can see here, alcohol is produced. So during the production of alcohol also, microbes are used. Then fourth, we learn that microorganisms are also used in vinegar production. The bacteria that is used in vinegar production, we call it as what? The bacteria that is used in Acetobacter aceti, right? Acetobacter aceti is a microorganism, a bacteria which is used in vinegar production. Then after that, fifth one, we are going to learn dairy productions, right? So in dairy productions, we are going to learn how to produce yogurt, right? We are going to learn how to produce yogurt. Okay, I'm going to explain you the steps to produce yogurt. And if you didn't understand anything, kindly let me know. ஏதாவது விளங்காட்டி யார் சருக்கு ஏதாவது விளங்காட்டி unmute பண்ணி கேளுங்க வெக்கப்பட வானம். Okay, if you don't be shy to ask, you can unmute and ask. Don't worry, no one is here to laugh at you. So if you didn't understand anything, ask me, right? So we are going to learn next how to produce yogurt. Does anyone have any questions, or is it all good so far? Is it all good so far, or is anyone having any questions?
No, teacher.
No, teacher.
Right. Listen. So we are going to learn how to produce yogurt. Basically, there are 6 steps. The first step is you take the clean container and you are going to add yogurt. You're going to add milk. You're going to take a clean container and you're going to add milk. And we are going to insert a thermometer to measure the temperature, because we have a certain temperature that we have to boil the milk, and then we have to boil the milk, right? So the temperature that you have to boil the milk is 88 degrees Celsius to 90, between this range. We have to boil the milk between this range. That's the first step. The first step is take a clean container, heat the cow's milk for 15 to 30 minutes. We have to heat it for 15 to 30 minutes at the temperature between 88 to 95 degrees Celsius. Okay, everyone tell what's the first step? Heat the cow's milk. Heat the cow's milk for 15 to 30 minutes at temperature between 88 to 95 degrees Celsius. Now the main reason why we heat the milk is to kill all the unfavorable
Bacteria.
microorganisms, unfavorable bacteria. To make sure when we heat, what will happen? When heating, all the unfavorable bacteria will get destroyed, right? When heating, unfavorable means எங்களுக்கு தேவையில்லாத bacteria,
Harmful.
right? The one which we don't need for this process. The process க்கு தேவையில்லாத bacteria, unfavorable bacteria, all the harmful bacteria will get destroyed. So when heating, unfavorable bacteria gets destroyed. That's why we have to heat it. That's why we have to boil the milk. Then the second step, after we boil the milk, we let it to cool for some time, right? We let the milk to cool for some time. We can also cover it and keep, because we don't want any other microorganisms to enter after. Again, you don't want it to enter, no? So you can cover it and you can keep it for some time until it cools. After it cools down, you will observe that there is a cream layer that is formed. We have to remove that cream layer, right? After the milk is cooled down, second step, once the milk is cool, we have to remove the cream. The cream which is formed. Now, நாங்க டீ ஊத்தினாலும் கண்டிக்கிறீங்களா ஆடைன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. There will be a cream layer that is formed on top of the tea, right? So same like that. once we keep it for some time, we will observe that there is a cream layer that is formed on the milk. So we have to remove that cream layer. That's the second step. Then the third step, after we remove the cream layer, we have to add the sugar and the gelatin. Now here, a required quantity is not given because it depends on the amount that you're making. எவ்வளோ quantity நீங்க செய்றீங்களோ அந்த amount depend ஆகும். Right? So next one, we are going to add gelatin. Why is gelatin added? Gelatin is added as a thickener to thicken. When I thick பண்ணணும் தானே இத. We have to make sure that it becomes solid. Now, milk is usually liquid. So gelatin is added as a thickener to thicken the substance. And also it is added as a like to make sure to convert the solid in liquid into solid, like to make sure it becomes thicker. And we have to add sugar to give a flavor, as a flavor. So gelatin is added as a thickener, sugar is added as a flavor. So we have to add sugar and gelatin as required. Because why are we saying as required is because we don't know how much quantity that you're making. So based on the quantity that you're making, we have to add the gelatin and the sugar. That's the third step. Then the fourth step, we are going to add the culture yogurt. Culture yogurt means a yogurt which is already prepared. We are going to add the culture yogurt. Culture yogurt කියන්නේ already prepared yogurt which contains lactobacillus and streptococcus. Already prepare பண்ண yogurt அதுல வந்து தேவையான bacteria இருக்கு. Lactobacillus and streptococcus. ரெண்டு bacteria தான் தேவை. One we call it as the lactobacillus. The other one is called as the streptococcus. Lactobacillus and streptococcus. So these two bacteria are present in the culture yogurt. So the fourth step is we have to add the culture yogurt sample to the milk in small amount. நிறைய add பண்றது இல்ல. We are going to add it in small amount. And the temperature that should be there while we add is 60 degrees Celsius. Right? At 60 degrees Celsius temperature, we have to add the culture yogurt and we have to mix the solution well. Then after that, the fifth step, after you add the culture yogurt, then what you have to do is you have to separate this mixture into small cups. We have to separate the mixture into small yogurt cups. And after you separate into small yogurt cups, and we have to incubate this. Incubate කියන්නේ நாங்க முட்டை பொரிய வெப்பம் incubation சொல்லுவாங்க. ஒரு முட்டை எடுத்தா we have to keep it at a temperature so that it hatches, no? So that's called incubation. So while you incubate, it should be the temperature between 40 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. You have to keep the yogurt cups incubated between these temperatures for 6 to 7 hours. 6 hours illatti 7 hours. 6 to 7 hours, we have to incubate the yogurt cups. That's the fifth step. So after we incubate the yogurt cup, the last step is we have to refrigerate under 4 degrees Celsius. Right? The last step is to prevent the further growth of microorganism. Repeat microorganism grow panna virupam illa adula. So to prevent the further growth of microorganism, we have to put in the refrigerator under 4 degrees Celsius. It has to be inserted in the refrigerator under 4 degrees Celsius. Again, listen. First step, we are heating the milk to destroy all the unfavorable bacteria. The temperature is 88 to 95 degrees Celsius. We have to heat it for 15 to 30 minutes. Then after that, we have to cool the solution and we have to remove the cream. After we remove the cream, we have to add gelatin and sugar as required. Then after that, we have to add the culture yogurt at 60 degrees Celsius. Culture yogurt is already prepared yogurt which contains lactobacillus and streptococcus. The yogurt sample which is already prepared and which contains the bacteria that is needed for the production of yogurt. Once we add the culture yogurt in a small amount and once we mix it well at 60 degrees Celsius, we have to put it in small cups and we have to incubate it for 6 to 7 hours at a temperature of 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. After 7 hours, you take it out, you refrigerate it under how many degrees Celsius? We have to refrigerate it under
4 degrees Celsius.
4 degrees Celsius. So these are the steps. Can you all quickly write it down? Do the 55th. Not going to write the answers. You all are going to do it on your own. Do question number 55 until G. Do question number 55 until G.
Incubating mean what?
Incubate means you're keeping in a place where it's warm for some time so that the culture yogurt will get activated. Now, culture yogurt at pandram tane, lactobacillus and streptococcus bacteria. So why are we incubating? We are incubating to grow the microorganism to grow. We wanted the microorganism to activate. Now, lactobacillus and streptococcus at pandram. We want it to activate. So we have to keep it between 40 to 45 degrees Celsius until it activates. Right? That's called incubation. Incubating means basically we keep it in a warm place. Okay?
Okay.
For the growth of bacteria, for bacterial growth. So then finally, once the lactobacillus and streptococcus gets activated, finally we put in the refrigerator to make sure that any other unfavorable bacteria doesn't grow. We have to refrigerate it until we consume. Thinna varakettin, you have to keep it in the fridge. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Right. So do 55th question until G. And if you all are done, raise your hands. In the production of yogurt, first cow's milk is heated for 50 to 30 minutes in a temperature between 88 to 95 degrees Celsius. What will happen when milk is heated like this? All the
microbes are killed when heating the milk.
Sorry, my frame fell from up. All the unfavorable bacteria will get destroyed. Right? All the unfavorable bacteria present in the milk will get destroyed. All the unfavorable bacteria in the milk will get destroyed. All the unfavorable bacteria in the milk will get destroyed. That's why we are going to heat it. The bacteria, we have to destroy it. So that's the purpose that we are heating. So to make sure all the unfavorable bacteria get destroyed, we have to heat. The PDF is sent in the group. Are you a new student who was added recently? Afreen. Wait, I'll reshare the PDF. Huh? I reshared the PDF in the group, WhatsApp group. Okay, is everyone done? So after that, the cream
No,
is
teacher.
removed. You all are right. Okay, do until G, yeah? After that, the cream is removed and gelatin and sugar is added. What is the next step of producing yogurt? After gelatin and sugar and gelatin is added, then what's the next step?
Adding culture yogurt to the homemade yogurt in a small amount.
Yes, adding culture yogurt. Right? Next step is adding culture yogurt in small amount. Adding culture yogurt in small amount. Then what is meant by culture yogurt?
Yogurt that is already made.
Already prepared yogurt.
That contains the bacteria Lactobacillus and Streptococcus.
Yes, already prepared yogurt that contains the bacteria. Already prepared yogurt which contains
Lactobacillus and Streptococcus.
the bacteria.
Lactobacillus Streptococcus.
Don't need to write the name, which contains the bacteria. What are the species of bacteria? Next question, they're asking you the name of the bacteria. Then we can write the lactobacillus and streptococcus. What is the function of these I didn't teach you that. Basically, the function of these bacteria is to convert lactose into lactic acid. There is milk. In the milk, there is a carbohydrate called the lactose. In the milk, there is a carbohydrate called the lactose. So lactobacillus and streptococcus, what do? Is they convert the lactose into lactic acid and they make the acidic medium. Now, if acidic medium has, the yogurt has acidic medium, there won't be any other unfavorable bacteria that is growing. So what's the function of these bacteria? To convert the lactose which is present in the milk into what? They turn lactose into
Acid.
lactic acid. They turn lactose into lactic acid. So lactose is a carbohydrate which is present in the milk. So they turn lactose into lactic acid. Remember, lactose is a carbohydrate which is present in the milk. So these bacteria, they turn lactose into lactic acid. These bacteria, they turn lactose into lactic acid. So if they ask you the function of the lactobacillus and streptococcus, they turn lactose into lactic acid. What's the function of lactobacillus and streptococcus?
They convert lactose into lactic acid.
Yes, they convert lactose into lactic acid. What is lactose? Lactose is the carbohydrate which is present in the milk. Lactose is a carbohydrate which is present in the milk. What is the next step? Now, once we add the culture yogurt, then we have to separate into
Incubating the yogurt at 40 to 50 degrees Celsius.
Before incubating, darling, we have to first separate into what?
Small portions.
Small cups, right? So you have to put the mixture into small plastic cups. We have to put the mixture into small plastic cups. That's the next step. Then once we put the mixture into small plastic cups, then these cups are kept at a temperature between 40 to 45 degrees Celsius for 6 to 7 hours. What is done after that? After that, we cover the cups with using a lid and we refrigerate it under
4 Celsius.
4 degrees Celsius.
Yes.
So you cover the cups, yes? Yes? We are going to cover the cup with lids and keep in the refrigerator under
4 Celsius.
the refrigerator under 4 degrees Celsius. Right?
Cover it and keep it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, mute your mic and write, darling. Right? We're going to cover the cups with lids and then we are going to keep in the refrigerator under 4 degrees Celsius. So is everyone done? So dairy production is also done. So you can understand from this, microorganisms are also used in production of milk products such as yogurt, cheese, curd, and all. We use microorganisms. Halas, everyone finished?
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Yes,
miss.
teacher.
Yes,
Is
teacher.
anyone still writing? Who is writing? Raise your hands. Eludrakal raise panna baba. If anyone still writing,
I wrote only answers.
sorry.
I wrote only answers.
Yeah, whoever doesn't have the booklet, write only the answers. So physical students have the PDF with you all. I printed and gave. Online students, I told you all try your best to get the PDF printed. So I have shared the PDF in the group until you get the booklet, because the booklet is still in the process of printing. I didn't get a response from the printer shop yet. I have given the books to print, but then they didn't still give it to me. So once they give it to me, inshallah, I'll inform you all. Basically, you can start you all can start filling the form. I'll send the form to you all. Fill the form so that I can courier your books. Basically, if you fill it, it will be received within 2 weeks. It will not quickly. You will not quickly get it. At least 2 weeks time period. Give me. You will receive within 2 weeks, right? Because the books are not yet printed. It's on the process. Okay. So next one, we are going to talk about products based on plant fibers. So yogurt production is done. Is anyone still writing? No. Everyone finished, right? Until G?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, miss.
No one is writing because I didn't see anyone raising your hands. Only Sarah and Aina and Zakira. You guys are done. Zakira, Aina and Sarah until 50 G part.
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Sarah is finished. Zakira, what about you? Ittijaz, Ayan, Uzma, are you all still writing? Shall we give them 2 minutes to complete? I'll give you all 2 minutes to complete. Quickly complete this. Make it fast. Give me 2 minutes. I'll quickly go fill the water and come. Huh? Until then, you all finish it fast. Make it fast. Whoever has raised your hand? Zakira, Ayan, Etijaz, and Uzma. Right. So now listen, everyone. Look at the board. So now we are going to learn about how microorganisms are used in plant-based products. Now, if you take plants like coconut, arecanut, right? Coconut, arecanut, hemp, agave. These plants, they have fibers which is present. Now, if you take coconut and all, now if you take the coconut, have you seen this part of the coconut? The fiber is attached with each other, no? If you take this part of the coconut, you may have seen the fiber is attached with each other. Do we get the fibers as separated? No. The fibers are tightly attached, tightly packed. There is a compound which is called as pectate. Now, if you take two fibers, there is a compound which is called as pectate, which keeps them attached with each other, connected together. This name of this compound, we call it as pectate. What's the name of the compound? Pectate. So there are, we make various products based on plant fibers. One such example is like brooms. You may have seen brooms which are made with plant fibers. So they usually make different design buckets and all by using plant fibers, right? So there are many products that are produced using plant fibers. Now, how do they separate these plant fibers? Have you seen, like, if you take a broom, are the plant fibers attached with one another or are they separated?
Separated.
They are separated. Now, remember, the thing which keeps them together, the compound which keeps two fibers together is called the pectate. The compound that keeps two fibers together is called the pectate compound. What's the name of the compound?
Pectate compound.
Right? So there is a compound called the pectate which keeps the fibers together. Now, if I digest this pectate, if I break this bond of this pectate, what will happen? We can get two fibers. Now, what do they basically do is they take a microorganism group called the actinomycetes. There is a group called the actinomycetes. There is a microbial group. This is not given in your book. Actinomycetes kiyala. There is a bacterial group. So they use this bacterial group. Not only this, there are also there is bacteria like Bacillus cocoris, Bacillus comesi. Like that, there are several types of bacteria. It's not needed for y'all. Don't need to memorize the names. So like there is bacteria like Bacillus cocoris and Bacillus comesi. Bacillus comesi. Like this, the bacteria are there. These bacteria, they produce an enzyme called the pectinase enzyme. These bacteria, they produce an enzyme called the what? They produce an enzyme called the pectinase enzyme. These bacteria, you don't have to tell the name of the bacteria. You can just say there are some bacteria that produces pectinase enzymes. They use this pectinase enzyme. They use the pectinase enzyme to digest the pectate compound. Now, let's say this fiber is attached with pectate compound. Now, to digest this pectate compound, these bacteria, they produce this pectinase enzyme. Again, listen, look at the board. Usually, plant fibers are abundant. Like we can find plant fibers mainly in coconut. These plants, we have a lot of plant fibers. Coconut, arecanut, agave, hemp. These are some plants where we can find plant fibers. Like the plant fibers are like abundant in them. Every plant has fibers only. But in this, the plant fibers are abundant. They cool the light. Right? So we can use these plant fibers to produce various products. Different products we can use these plant fibers to produce. But we have to first separate the plant fibers. Now, usually plant fibers, they are connected with each other by a compound called, what is the compound name I told you? What's the name of the compound? Pectate compound. What's the name of the compound?
Pectate.
Everyone, what's the name of the compound?
Pectate. Pectate compound.
There is a compound called the pectate compound which keeps the fibers connected together. What's the name of the compound again?
Pectate compound.
Pectate compound. So these pectate compound are used to connect the fibers together. Now, if we use something to, now can we sit down and remove one by one? Is it easy to sit down and remove one by one? Or look on the culture the easier?
Not much.
No. So what do? Is they take a big area. In a big area, they add types of bacteria like Bacillus cocoris, Bacillus comesi, like that. They add bacteria, different bacteria they add to the solution and they put fibers inside it. These bacteria, they release a enzyme called the pectinase enzyme, a chemical. These bacteria, they release an enzyme called what enzyme?
Pectinase enzyme.
Pectinase enzyme. These pectinase enzyme, they digest. These pectinase enzyme, they digest the pectate. They digest the pectate. This pectinase enzyme, what do? They digest the pectate and they separate the fibers. What does the pectinase enzyme do? They digest the pectate compound. When I do a pectate compound, digest panum. They digest the pectate compound and they separate the fibers. That's the function of this pectinase enzyme. What does the pectinase enzyme do? The pectinase enzymes that are produced by relevant bacteria, they digest the
Pectate.
pectate and they separate they digest the pectate compound and they separate the fibers. They digest the pectate compound and they separate the fibers. So that's the function of this pectinase enzyme. So let's write it down. Everyone take out your model question booklet, like the tube, and write down. Action of bacteria is used to get fibers out of hemp and coconut. Explain how are these fibers separated. Write down. The compound pectate which is present among the fibers. The pectate compound which is present among the fibers. The pectate compound which is present among the fibers of plants, keep them bound together. Keep them bound together. Pectinase enzyme is produced by relevant bacteria. Pectinase enzyme is produced by relevant bacteria. Is produced by relevant bacteria. Is produced by relevant bacteria to separate the fibers by digest. To separate the fibers by digesting the pectate compound. By digesting the pectate compound. So these are the all things, like everything that is given under industrial microbiology. They have not given more about it. These are the things like, production of plant-based products, dairy products, alcohol, vinegar, metal extraction, and biogas. So these are the things that is given in grade 9 syllabus. The next we are going to learn about environmental conservation, like how microorganisms are used in environmental conservation to protect the environment. So is everyone done until 56?
No, teacher.
No.
Done, teacher. Okay, so I hope everyone is finished. Next, we are going to learn about how microorganisms are used in environmental conservation to protect the environment, right? So if you talk about environmental pollutants, pollutants are the substances which pollutes the environment. Pollutants are substances which are added to the environment and which pollutes the environment. The substances which pollutes the environment, we call them as pollutants. So there can be gaseous pollutants, there can be gases which can be pollutants, there can be particulate pollutants, there can be particles, the solid substances which can be added to the environment as pollutants, right? So remember, microorganisms are commonly used to remove environmental pollutants. So this is basically called as bioremediation. Bio means you're going to use microorganism as a remedy for the earth, as a remedy, remediation. Bioremediation means we are going to use microorganism. We are going to use microorganism to remove the pollutants from the environment. So if microorganisms, a technology where microorganisms are used to remove environmental pollutants using microorganisms, that technology is called as bioremediation, right? Let's think about an ocean where there is lot of oil which is released by ships, right? Let's say there are several layers of oils that are released by ships. So if we are using microorganism, if microorganism is used to remove this oil layer from the ocean, that process is called as bioremediation. So bioremediation means the technology that is used to remove environmental pollutants. The technology that is used to remove environmental pollutants. We are removing environmental pollutants by using microorganisms. This technology is called as bioremediation. So everyone tell it together. What is meant by bioremediation? Bioremediation means a technology used to remove
Environment pollutants
by using
Microbes.
microorganisms. A technology used to remove environmental pollutants by using microorganisms. Again, a technology that is used to remove environmental pollutants by using microorganisms. Again, what is meant by bioremediation? A technology is used to remove that is used to remove environmental pollutants by using microorganisms. Again, a technology that is used to remove right. If you are using microorganisms to remove the environmental pollutants from the environment, that technology is called as bioremediation. Right? So we are going to learn 4 examples under bioremediation. We have 4 examples, 4 applications where we use microorganisms to remove environmental pollution. Right? So under bioremediation, we are going to learn 4 examples. So the first example is we can use microorganisms to remove organic substances. Organic waste matter කියන්නේ indul. Basically, indul means, you know what indul is? කුණුකාරය වන්දකේ පාර්තානේ indul තාංගන් சொல்லி. Not polythene, not paper waste. Indul means vegetable waste, like plant waste and animal waste matter, organic. So to remove organic waste matter, from the polluted water, right? Let's say the water has been polluted because of organic waste matter. So to remove the organic waste matter from the polluted water, we can use microorganisms. That's the first example. The first example is organic waste matter can be removed from the polluted water by using microbes. What's the first example? Organic waste matter in polluted water can be removed by using microbes. What's the first example? Organic waste matter in polluted water can be removed by using microorganisms. What's the first example? Tell it together. I'm not hearing anyone telling with me. I'm repeating alone. What's the first example?
Organic waste matter in polluted water can be removed by microorganisms.
Very good. Organic waste matter in polluted water can be removed by using microorganisms. That's the first example. The second example is, as I told you, when huge ships are traveling, they tend to release oil. When big ships and all are traveling on the sea, right? When huge ships are traveling on the sea, what happens? Oil is released to the water bodies. Oil is released to the ocean, right? So this oil that is released to the ocean can be controlled. It can be easily remove the oil that is there in the ocean. Ocean is very huge. Can it be easily removed? Let's say a ship broke down and the oil started to release from the ship. Have you all watched a movie called Free Willy? Or Whale the Kada?
Yes.
It's a very old movie, a very old one, but it's a very nice one. So it's called Free Willy. In that, have you seen the ship breaks down and then the oil releases to the ocean? So when oil releases to the ocean, what happens? And the oil one, the black color ocean mele nikkum. Appa nerupu pattinanda. Now let's say the ship starts to fire, the whole area will get on fire. Even though there is water, the water is having no impact there. Because oil and water doesn't mix with each other. Oil will never mix with water. So to separate the oil, to remove the oil from the ocean, they use a bacteria called the Pseudomonas. What's the name of the bacteria? Pseudomonas. P is silent. P is not pronounced. We don't pronounce the P. Pseudomonas is a bacteria which is released to the ocean water. They release the Pseudomonas to the ocean water to digest, to decompose the oil layer. Right? To decompose the oil layer, Pseudomonas is a bacteria that is released to the ocean water. Pseudomonas is a bacteria that is released to the ocean water to decompose the oil layer. Right? So again, listen. From the ships and all, a large amount of oil can be released to the water. So to decompose this oil layer, which is present in the ocean water, what is the name of the bacteria that is used?
Pseudomonas.
Pseudomonas. So
Yeah.
Pseudomonas is a bacteria which can release an enzyme. Pseudomonas will release an enzyme. This enzyme, which is released by the Pseudomonas, can decompose the hydrocarbon which is present in the oil. Remember, oil is made with hydrogen and carbon, hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon means a compound which contains hydrogen and carbon. If a compound contains hydrogen and carbon, we call it as hydrocarbon. So Pseudomonas is a bacteria which is released to the ocean water. This Pseudomonas will release an enzyme. This enzyme will help to decompose the oil by digesting the hydrocarbon which is present in the oil. The Pseudomonas.
Teacher?
Yes.
What's an enzyme?
Enzyme is a chemical compound which is produced in the body of an organism. Inside our body also enzyme is produced. Right? Enzyme is a type of protein which is produced in the body of organisms, living things. It's like a chemical which is produced inside the living things. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
So this Pseudomonas is a bacteria which produces an enzyme. This enzyme will help to decompose the hydrocarbon which is present in the oil. The enzyme will help to decompose the hydrocarbon which is present in the oil. So this is basically the second function. The second function is Pseudomonas is a bacteria which is released to the ocean water to decompose the oil layer, to decompose the hydrocarbon of the oil which is present, which is released to the oil, right? Hydrocarbons in the oil will get decomposed by the enzyme that is produced by Pseudomonas. So basically, Pseudomonas is released to the ocean water to decompose the bacteria. To decompose the oil. Is that clear?
Yes, miss.
Yes, teacher.
அவங்க வந்து Pseudomonas என்ற ஒரு பாக்டீரியா வந்து ஓஷன் வாட்டருக்கு ஆட் பண்றாங்க. அப்ப இந்த Pseudomonas வந்து ஒரு என்சைமை ரிலீஸ் பண்ணுது. இந்த என்சைம் வந்து அந்த ஹைட்ரோகார்பன், அந்த ஆயில் இருக்கிற ஹைட்ரோகார்பனை டிகம்போஸ் பண்ணுது. That's basically the second example. Right? The third example is, anyone had any question in this? எல்லாருக்கும் இது விளங்கிச்சா?
Yes, teacher.
Right. Third example is factories. Now, what do the factories do? They usually release the waste material to the water bodies. Have you seen that big, huge tunnels releasing a lot of waste to the water bodies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, when they release like industrial waste, machines all produce pandra waste release panna kola, when they release these industrial waste, it contains a large amount of heavy metals. Heavy metals are toxic. It's not good for our body. Right? Now, if you take what are heavy metals? Heavy metals are the metals which has high density and high molecular mass. If you want the meaning, you can write down. The metals which has high density and high molecular mass, the metals which has high density and high molecular mass, we call them as heavy metals. Heavy metals are the metals which contains high density and high molecular mass. Heavy metals are the metals which has high density and high molecular mass. So the density and the molecular mass is high. So when they're in the water bodies, they always deposit in the water. Like pani pete nikkum water la. Michinalaki adu nikkum. So heavy metals is not good for the body of human being. Like if it enters inside the human, it can cause kidney failure, it can cause cancer. So heavy metals are not good for living things. So when these heavy metals get collected in water bodies, now see, these big factories are releasing lot of waste matter to the water bodies. These heavy metals, example of heavy metals are like mercury, lead, chromium. These are some examples of heavy metals. Chromium, lead, mercury, what else? Right. So these are few examples. Now, when these metals, when they're released to the water bodies, when these heavy metals are released to the water bodies, and let's say by any chance, if a living thing is consuming or like it enters a living organism, it can cause diseases. Right? So therefore, these heavy metals should be removed from the environment. It's not good for the environment. It should be removed from the environment. So what do the factories mainly do is they release these water bodies to a place, to an area. In that area, they add a bacteria to remove these toxic heavy metals. There is a bacteria which can digest these toxic heavy metals. Now these huge factories, what do? They release these water bodies waters which contains heavy metals to the water bodies, and they add certain bacteria to these water bodies. This bacteria will decompose the heavy metals. This bacteria will remove these toxic heavy metals from the water. What does the bacteria do? They will remove these toxic heavy metals from the water. So that's why the factories, they add these bacteria to the water bodies, because they know when they release these heavy metals to the water bodies will get polluted. So they add this bacteria so that these toxic heavy metals can be removed from the water bodies. That's the third example. The third example is heavy metals such as chromium, lead, mercury. These are the symbols. Chromium, heavy metals such as chromium, lead, mercury. These heavy metals are added to the water bodies by factories. Right? So, this polluted water will be sent, like they use this, in the polluted water, they send it through a tower, and what do? They add a bacteria to that place so that the bacteria will remove the bacteria will help to remove the toxic heavy metals. The bacteria, they will help to remove the toxic heavy metals. So that is the third example. The fourth example is nowadays they are producing plastics which are decomposable. Now, can plastics easily decompose? Plastics easily decompose panna maatachi. Like it won't. Plastics can't decompose. So nowadays they are producing biodegradable plastics. Biodegradable plastics means the plastics which can be decomposed. Right? So nowadays they are producing biodegradable plastics, the plastic that are decomposed by bacteria. Why are they producing biodegradable plastics? So that the environment is not polluted with plastics. Because when we add plastic to the environment, it gets polluted. So avanga plastic iva produce pannakolla, they are producing biodegradable ones, the plastics which can be decomposed in the environment. So that's the plastic that they are producing now. Is that clear, everyone? Well,
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Miss.
Right. So can we write the answer for 57 and 58? So 58, you have to write all 4 examples. I think I have left the page in the next page also. You can use, like you can use the whole lines here. So 57, first we have to write what is bioremediation. So microorganisms. If you are a technology where microorganisms are used to remove
the environmental pollutants by using microorganisms.
Yeah, if you are removing the environmental pollutants by using microorganisms, that technology we call it as bioremediation. So write down the technology used to remove the environmental pollutants from the using what?
Microorganism.
Using microorganisms. right? The technology used to remove the environmental pollutants using microorganisms. This technology we call it as bioremediation. Can you all write on the next four? Like, can you all refer the short note and write? It's there in the short note. Wait, let me check in the short note. You all can refer this page in the short note and write down these. These 4 points you have to write. Can you all write down these 4 points there? Microorganisms are used in the production of biodegradable plastics, decompose organic waste in polluted water. Pseudomonas is a bacteria that is used to decompose oil layers in ocean by decomposing the hydrocarbons using enzymes. Bacteria are used to remove toxic heavy metals such as chromium, lead, and mercury from industrial wastewater. So these are the 4 examples for bioremediation, where bioremediation is used. So I have shared the short note with you all. So you can refer the short note and write the answer for this question, for the 58th question. So I don't have to write it. I'm not going to write it. You all write it by referring the short. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
I give you all 5 minutes now. Quickly write it down. Are all done? 58th one. Did you all write all 4?
Yes.
Is everyone finished? Can I move on? Is everyone finished? Or is anyone still writing?
Finish.
Finished. Right? So write down all 4 applications, all 4 instances where bioremediation used. So one is to remove organic waste matter in polluted water. Next one about oil. Second one, oil in ocean. Second one, you can talk about heavy metals. Third one, plastic. Think about those one key. Like keep in your mind. One is plastic, about plastic. One is about oil. one is about heavy metals, and one is about organic waste matter in polluted water. If you remember some certain points, then that will stay in your mind. Rather than memorizing the whole sentence, remember one words, one points. Right? Now, when you say bioremediation, think oil released by ships, biodegradable plastics which can be decomposed. Then what else? Organic waste matter in polluted water. Then heavy metals released by factories. Right? So like that, remember points and keep, then it will be easy for you to remember. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, miss.
Nice. Okay, now we are going to learn the disadvantages. Now advantages are halas, finished. But then there is one thing to remember, like one thing for y'all to learn. Wait, I'll show you. This one you have to learn. Wait. This one, where is that? Nope. It's not included. So, okay, I thought it was included. Okay, listen. So basically, you have to also remember the features of microorganisms which helps to be used in different industries. Now, you're using microorganisms, guys. You're using microorganisms small scale industries. You're using microorganisms in large scale industries. You're using in small and large scale industries. You're using microorganisms. Then you have to know what features helps us to use in these industries. Because of what are the features of microorganisms? It's helping us to use in these industries. One thing is the growth rate and the respiration rate is, the growth rate and the reproduction rate is high. Right? One thing is you can say microorganisms grow fast. The growth rate is high. And also the reproduction rate is high. Reproduction rate is high. Can you remember first class I explained? The growth rate and the reproduction rate of microorganism is high. Did I tell you that or no? I told, no? I said?
Yes.
But like if you take microorganisms, they quickly grow. They quickly reproduce. So the growth rate and the reproduction rate of microorganism is very, very high. Second one, remember, we can get microorganisms for a very low cost. We can get microorganisms for a very low cost. Like we can buy it for a very low rate. Or sometimes we can get it for free of charge. Right? We can obtain for a very low cost or free of charge. When you talk about microorganisms, we can obtain microorganisms for a very low cost or free of charge. That's another advantage of using them. Another advantage is compared to other industries, the amount of energy consumption, the amount of energy that this industry uses is very, very low. Right? Most industries, they uses a large amount of energy. A large amount of energy is required. But in this industry, large amount of energy is not required. The amount of energy that is using is very, very small. So small amount of energy is only required. That is another advantage. A small amount of energy is only needed. Right? Remember, a small amount of energy is only required in these industries that are related to. A small amount of energy is only required in the industries that are related to microorganisms. Then the fourth advantage. Now what we are learning how industries related to microorganisms are useful. We are learning like the features of microorganism which helps in the production of products in large and small scale industries. One thing is the growth rate and the reproduction rate is high. So we can quickly produce it. We don't need to wait for a long time. Second one, very low cost. You can purchase microorganism. We can purchase microorganism for a low cost. Or we can obtain for free of charge from the environment. Third one, only small amount of energy is needed in industries that uses microorganisms. Fourth one, there is a very less environmental pollution, minimal environmental pollution. There is no much environmental pollution. The environmental damages is very less, minimal environmental damages. Now, if you talk about other industries, they will have a large amount of industrial damage. But if you talk about industry that uses microorganism, they have only very less environmental damage. Then we can talk about the structure. If you take the microorganism, the structure is very, very simple. They have a very simple structure. So since they have a very simple structure, we use them for modern genetic engineering. I told you, gene technology. Can you remember gene technology?
Yes, madam.
So since microorganisms have very simple genes, because they have very simple genes, we use them in genetic engineering. Since microorganisms have very simple gene, we can use them where? We can use them in genetic engineering. So like this, we have many advantages. There are six advantages of using microorganisms in different industries. Sixth one is, if you take the microorganisms, there are microorganisms which are capable of multiplying on various substances. Like ஏதாவது ஒரு substanceல multiply பண்ணக்கூடிய microorganism இருக்கும். Like, if you take microorganism, it doesn't have a specific substrate. Some only has specific substrate, but most of the microorganism can grow anywhere. Like they are, like I told you, the habitat of them is widely spread. They mostly live in any surfaces. So many microorganisms are there that can exist, that are capable of multiplying on various substances. Right? Many microorganisms are capable of multiplying on various substances. They can multiply on various substances. Like they don't have a specific thing that they need. They can actually, if there is enough nutrition, they can multiply. So they can multiply on various substances. Is that clear? Is all these six clear? So these are some favorable advantages of microorganisms based on how they are economically important, how we can use them in different industries. Like why are they using in different industries? Because of these economical importance, right? These are economically important because if you talk about a large scale, we don't like to spend much. Right? So very low cost or free of charge. Growth rate is high, reproduction rate is high. You can multiply on various surfaces. Small amount of energy is only needed. You don't need large amount of energy. Minimal environmental damages. Compared to other industries, microbial industries causes only less environmental damage. Since they have a simple gene, we can use them in genetic engineering. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Right. So can I give you a question since it's not there? I think this is not there. Is the question there in your queue? No, ne? Nope. Okay. Like write this as a question. Write this as a question anywhere because it's not given as a question. So write it down. Write some features of microorganisms. 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 Which helps to be used in 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 economically important large-scale productions. Which helps to be used in economically important large-scale productions. So you can write 6. Write some features of microorganisms which helps to be used in economically important large-scale productions. So one you can write about what? We can obtain microorganisms at very low rates or free of charge from the environment. Second one, growth rate and the reproduction rate is high. Am I the only one talking? Can't you all talk? Third one,
Small amount of energy is required.
yes, only very small amount of energy is required. Fourth one,
Minimal
environmental
damages.
the industries which has microorganisms, the industries with microbes, they cause only minimal environmental damages, whereas most of the other industries, they causes heavy environmental pollutions, right? Fifth one, since they have a very simple gene, they can be easily used for
genetic engineering.
genetic engineering. The last one, there are various microorganisms which are capable of multiplying on various substances. So you have to write all 6. Can you all write down the answers? All 6 answers? Physical students, your exams will be on, they were physical students, your exams will be on 3rd, first unit exam. Physical students, your first unit exam will be on 3rd. The eval students. Even the online same. We'll have it on 3rd. But basically, online students, now this part is there. Adverse effects are there. That's basically, you have to do it by your own. Like you have to remember the diseases caused by bacteria, diseases caused by bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and virus. But physical students, I'll explain it for 1 hour and then I'll give you all time to like do the paper for 1 hour, right? So 1 hour it will be explanation, 1 hour I will be doing the exam. The online students, inshallah, we'll have the online students. Online students, you will have the exam on 5th itself. Online, we'll have the exam on 5th. Physical students will have the exam on 3rd, right? So the UL students or whoever has joined, inform your friends as well. We will have the exam on 3rd February, Unit 1. Online students, you guys will have the exam on 5th. Is that clear?
Yes. In which topic we should study?
Only the first chapter, the whole first chapter. You have to study the everything which is there in the first chapter.
Okay.
Right? Only the first unit exam, because we have only learned first chapter now. So only first chapter exam. Kindly make sure to inform others. I'll also inform in the group. If you meet your friends, you can inform them as well. Like we will have the exam on Thursday. I'll also share the recording in the group so that you all can go through it. Okay, now listen. So before I end the session, I'll explain you all one thing. Microorganisms are not only useful for us, no? I told you that they are also what? Microorganisms are also harmful. Most of the microorganisms are useful, but there are some microorganisms which are harmful. Now, why they are harmful? There are many reasons. One thing, they can cause food spoilage. They can spoil our food. Microorganisms can cause food spoilage. You learned this in grade 8 also. Can you remember that we learned in grade 8 that microorganisms can cause food spoilage?
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Yes. Right? So they can cause food spoilage. The second thing is food spoilage means they cause the spoilage of food. Food asadakradis, food spoilage. You learn this in grade 8. Second thing is they cause infectious diseases. They cause diseases to man, to animals, to plants. Basically, to man and plants are given in your book. In grade 9, they have given you some diseases caused to man, human. Some diseases caused to plants are also given. So they cause infectious diseases. That's most dangerous ones. Third disadvantage is they cause economical damages. Economical damages to the walls. You may have seen fungi grown on wall, algae grown on wall. the clothes can get damaged. Economical damages can be caused to the walls of buildings, furnitures, clothes. Some microorganisms they grow on furniture. Some microorganisms they grow on walls of the buildings. Some microorganisms they grow on clothes. So when this happens, the value of those products will reduce. That's another disadvantage. A modern disadvantage is that nowadays people are using microorganisms to create biological weapons. They are using microorganisms to create weapons. So that is another disadvantage. It's not an advantage, no? Creating weapons is something like not good for us because they kill each other. So that is also belonging under disadvantage. So we will be learning mainly this and this only. In this chapter, disadvantages, we will be learning only these two. The infectious diseases caused to human and plants and biological weapons. Those are the only two topics that are mainly given. Food spoilage is just given, like what is food spoilage? You know, food spoilage means the food becomes unsuitable for consumption because of the change in the physical and the chemical properties of the food. Because when microorganisms grow on the food, the physical and the chemical properties of the food will change. So I don't have enough time to explain everything. So what we can do is, inshallah, grade like physical students, I'll explain this disadvantages in the class, but still study and come. Like study the examples and come because you can't memorize at the same time. No? So you have 5 days. So sit down, study and come. You have 5 days. Separate the chapter into small parts. Each day study something so that you will not bulk it up. Come together and start like write everything at once. So don't stay until the last minute. Start studying from now onwards. நாளையிலிருந்து படிக்க start ஆகும். Right? So thank you for joining today's class, and I hope you all understood what we learned. And I hope you guys will learn for the exam and don't come without learning because I don't want to see low marks. I have done my best. Now it's in your hands. Right? Please study and come. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Right. So thank you for coming. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah.
Barakallah, dear. Take care.
Bye, miss.
Bye. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.